Thank you for joining me on our GMM series. This tutorial will look at how to estimate one-step difference GMM. But please, before you go ahead to watch this, I will encourage you to watch the first video titled Understanding GMM. This will give you the basic information that you require concerning the GMM estimation procedure. On the screen is a 10-point preparatory guide. Make sure you have a panel data. Yours may be balanced or unbalanced. Ensure that the number of cross sections is greater than the time span in your data, and make sure that you generate year dummies. Specify a dynamic model. Set up Stata to perform panel data estimations. Make sure you are using a do file and a log file to write all your codes and to track all your estimations. If need be, go ahead to perform some preliminaries like correlation analysis, summary statistics. You may decide to plot the graph of the dependent variable. Then go ahead to estimate the model, check your diagnostics as you go along, and interpret your results. In my example, I have a balanced panel data. My number of cross sections is greater than the time span in my data. I have 54 countries across 11 years. I have specified a dynamic model, as you can see. The log of y is a function of its lag, first lag, a function of a vector of control variables, a vector of explanatory variables. I have year dummies, and this is the error term. I have also set up Stata, and I have my do file ready with all codes written. I also have my log file whereby I have tracked all estimations. It is assumed that I have done all the necessary preliminaries. So in this video, I will only estimate the model and check diagnostics as we go along. Please know that I will not be interpreting results because I have a different video for interpreting GMM results. So please bear with me. I will not be interpreting results in this tutorial. Please let me pause a little bit and just tell you that you will not have access to my data set, but the do file is available on my website. So please use your own data and follow me step by step. In this example, I'll be looking at the impact of technology liberalization on economic growth. Using the xtabond 2 command, I have specified the model, and I'll be looking at how these four options will influence my results. I have the no-level equation, no diff Sargan, robust, and small. But what do these all mean? By specifying the no-level equation, I'm informing Stata that I want to estimate a difference GMM. By specifying no diff Sargan, I'm telling Stata not to report the difference in Sargan or Hansen statistics. By specifying robust, I want Stata to provide a heteroscedastic and autocorrelation consistent variance-covariance matrix. And by indicating small option, I prefer to have T statistics and F statistics reported and not Z or world statistics. But before we go into the analysis, let me pause a bit to discuss the classification of regressors under GMM. There are three categories. The first are known as predetermined regressors. These regressors are assumed to be correlated with the past errors, but not with current and future errors. Endogenous regressors are assumed to be correlated with past and possibly present errors, while strictly exogenous regressors do not have any correlation with all errors across all the time periods. I have two questions which I have provided some answers. The first question is that why use xtabond 2 and not the xtabond command? Remember that there are two estimators. The original estimator, often referred to as the difference GMM, and the augmented estimator called the system GMM. xtabond 2 implements the two estimators. It makes available a finite sample correction to the Weinmeier two-step covariance matrix. xtabond 2 makes two-step robust more efficient than one-step robust. It also addresses the instrument's proliferation problem, especially with the collapse option. The second question is, why estimate a one-step difference GMM? Know that Arellano-Bond estimators have two variants. one-step and two-step. The one-step difference GMM is initial regression, and many applied works still use the one-step estimates because simulation studies suggest that there is very modest efficiency gains from the two-step procedure, even in the presence of heteroscedasticity. So please know that the one-step difference GMM is still very relevant as with the two-step GMM. You can go online to search for papers that used one-step difference GMM, and you will see several of them. What will be the learning outcome in this tutorial? I'm going to show you how your results can change as you change these options during your estimation procedure, and I will also show you how your results can change when you modify your instrument set. These are the variables I'll be using. The dependent variable is a log of GDP. The endogenous variable is a lag of the log of GDP. These are my explanatory variables, 3 of them, and I have 3 control variables. Let's take a look at the instrument set. My internal instrument is a lag of the dependent variable, which is the endogenous variable. And in my external instrument set, I have 2 control variables and 3 explanatory variables plus the year dummies. So if you are ready, please load your data and let's get started. So we are here now in Stata domain. I have my log file on. You can see it here. These are my variables. I have 54 countries. The first country is Algeria, and the last country, the 54th country, is Zimbabwe. Each country has 11 years observations. Up here you can see my year dummies. I have created 11 year dummies, each representing a year. Here is my do file with all the commands I'll be executing in this tutorial, and this do file will be made available on my website, so please, you have access to it. It's free of charge. Make sure you have a Google account and a Chrome browser for easy download. But like I said before, the data set will not be available. Use your own data and please just follow this procedure. I have executed all these commands as indicated in the log file. So this is one of the importance of having a log file. You are able to track all your estimations. You can always repeat all your procedures all over again. So this tutorial will be conducted from the log file. First thing I said is that you have to prepare Stata to run panel data estimations, which I have done so by executing this command. You can see there, xtset here. And by that, Stata is able to return back that I have a strongly balanced panel. So with this, we are able to run our GMM estimations. So the first command executed is without the robust option. We want to see how our result will turn out if we don't include the robust option. Here is the command I executed, indicated here, and you can see there is no robust option. So let's look at the results. Up here at the top of the table, you can see one-step difference GMM. Here the instruments, number of instruments is 59 against the number of groups 48. So once you don't use the collapse option, you are going to have instruments proliferation. That is, your number of instruments will be far greater than the number of groups in the panel. Let's look at some variables here. I can see that the lag of the dependent variable is significant at 1%. I have a control variable here significant at 5%. And I have 2 of my explanatory variables here significant at 10%. Like I said, I won't be interpreting this, but just to show you how results changes as these options influence our results. Let's look at Hansen statistic. We can see here is significant at 1% level. So this clearly tells us that our instrument set is bad. It has to be corrected. AR2 is good. It indicates there is no second order serial correlation. AR1 is expected to be significant. So AR2 is more important in you evaluating your results. AR2 should not be significant. If AR2 is significant, it indicates that some lags of the dependent variable, which might be used as instruments, are in fact endogenous, meaning that they are bad instruments. So please, your AR2 should not be significant. So here we have seen that without the collapse option, Hansen statistics is not good at all. So we have to correct this. So now let's look at the results with the collapse option. Let me highlight this. So you can see here I have the collapse option. Let's check out the results. Still one-step difference GMM at the top of the table. Now with the collapse option, instrument set is reduced to 23, which is good, lower than the number of groups. Let's look at the coefficients. The lag of the dependent variable has dropped in significance from 1 to 5%. Labor is still significant, that's the control variable at 5%, while my previously significant explanatory variables are no longer significant. Let's check out Hansen. Hansen's statistic is much better at 0.382, and AR2 tells us there is no second order serial correlation. So in my own opinion, I would say this result is better with the collapse option. Next thing, we are going to look at how our results changes when we increase the instrument set. Before now, in the instrument set, if you compare what we've been doing before, inflation is not part of my instrument set here. Now I have included inflation. How would the results look like? So let's take a look. First thing we'll observe is that instrument set has increased to 24 from 23, which is still okay. It's lower than the number of groups. We can see that the lag of the dependent variable has further improved now, back to 1% significance level. Labor is now significant at 1%. One of my explanatory variable is significant now at 10%. So probably that included instrument has some significant influence on these variables. Let's look at Hansen. Hansen is now increased, inflated to 0.538. In my opinion, this is not good. It's getting inflated. And if you remember our first tutorial under understanding GMM, as your Hansen is getting increased, you must be very careful. So this one may indicate that I need to drop the included instrument. Next up, let's look at how the result will look like if you don't include the no diff Sargan and without the collapse option. You can see the command up here. I don't have the collapse option and I have removed the no diff Sargan. So let's take a look at what Stata will return. Because there is no collapse option, instrument set is increased back to 59 as against number of groups. So that is no longer new. We're expecting that. The coefficient of lag dependent variable has improved to 1% significance. Labor is also significant at 5%. This result is exactly what we had without the collapse option at the very first time. So if you look at Hansen, Hansen is still significant here, indicating the instrument set is bad. But by removing the no diff Sargan option, Stata will report the difference in Hansen test for exogeneity. So if you want Stata to report these statistics, you have to remove the no diff Sargan from your options. Next thing, let's look at how the results will look like with the collapse option but without the no diff Sargan option. With the collapse option and without the no diff Sargan option, the result we have here is exactly what we had when we used the collapse option. No difference at all in this result. If you scroll down, you will see that Hansen is exactly what we had before, 0.382, and AR2 is 0.666. And one thing you will observe is that Stata did not report the difference in Hansen statistic. This is because we are using the collapse option. So if you are using the collapse option and you remove the no diff Sargan option, this is what you are going to have. You won't get your difference in Hansen statistic. Next thing we look at is how our results changes without the robust option. One very clear difference you will see without using the robust option is that there are changes in the standard errors even though the coefficients values are the same. The standard errors have reduced and increased in some cases, thereby increasing or decreasing the t statistics in that order. So once the standard error is reduced, it will inflate the t statistics. And once the standard error is increased, it will deflate the t statistics. Let's look at Hansen. Hansen is at 0.032. This is dangerous. This is not good at all. This is not good at all. So my conclusion would be that always indicate the robust option so that Stata can return to you the heteroscedastic and autocorrelation variance covariance matrix estimates. It's always important for you to use the robust option in your GMM command. So lastly, we are going to look at how our results can change structurally without the small option. This is the code, and you can see that the small option is removed. Let's look at the outcome of the result. What you will notice is that instead of the t statistics being reported, Stata is reporting z statistics. And instead of F statistics, you have world statistics. Every other thing is the same. So it's a matter of choice. If you want T statistics, indicate small. If you want the Z statistics, then remove the small option. If you scroll down to Hansen, you'll see that Hansen is exactly what we had before. So If you remove the small option, Stata will report the Z statistics and the world statistics. So with this, we have come to the end of the tutorial on one-step difference GMM. I hope you're able to get something out of it. I hope that your confidence level has increased a little on how to handle GMM estimations. Please keep a date with me on the next tutorial, which will be on two-step difference GMM. Please, I have listed on the screen some references to guide you. Number one is important for you to go through Rudman 2009. And I've also included some papers where you have some practical application of using GMM. My paper is also included here at number 3, even though in this paper I used on system GMM. I also encourage that you go through Mileva 2007. She also did some practical work using difference and system GMM. And there are so many more papers that you can explore on the internet. Thank you for watching. I encourage you to subscribe to my channel if you have not done so. And please share my videos with your students, with your colleagues, and with your academic community. Please follow me on my Facebook, on Twitter, and on Reddit. Please don't go away. I'll be right back with the next video.